Well, we believe on starting on time. How about you? You came on time. Let's go. But before we do, I want to just say a special thanks to Dr. Westerdahl for being with us today and blessing us with his ministry, and an important one for our health, isn't it? And Dr. Westerdahl, in gratitude, we're going to send you home with some goodies. Now, I'll have to tell you, there's probably an item or two in there that you may have to make a decision on. Most of it is what we've been understanding, but there's probably one item in there that I'll let you decide what you want to do with that. Enjoy it or do whatever, okay? But thank you again for coming and sharing this wonderful message with us. How many were here this morning? All right, I think all of you were. That's awesome. So how blessed we were. Well, I'm not going to take any more time, but I would like to start with a prayer, if I may. Heavenly Father, we again invite you this afternoon to be here with power. You have such a wonderful message to share with us. Bless Dr. Westerdahl as he presents the afternoon message. Bless us as we leave here today and take the message home with us and apply it in our lives. It will make such a difference. We will feel younger. We will feel more youthful energy. We will just experience less disease. It's just going to be a real blessing to all of us. So thank you for bringing us together, Pastor Dr. Westerdahl, and sharing this important message with us today. Bless us all on our journey with you, Jesus, is our prayer today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, good afternoon. And boy, that was a great luncheon we had today. How many enjoyed that? Isn't that good? Very healthy. And that's what we're going to be talking today about. I'm a nutritionist and a registered dietitian, and my career has been focused on nutrition, various aspects of that. And so today we're going to be talking about anti-aging nutrition secrets for health, beauty, and longevity. And afterwards we'll have a question and answer session. And we can do that, and hopefully all you got your little bag as you came in, and hopefully you all got a drawing, because at the very end we're going to have a drawing for $120 worth of healthy vegetarian food products. So I should have mentioned that earlier at church. I think more people would have been here. Anyway, the thing that, in summary, what I want you to remember, if it's anything, it's this. Foods from plants, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes, seeds, nuts. These are the foods that prevent the diseases that are killing us. Foods from plants promote health, longevity, beauty, and vitality. And all we have to do is eat more of those. This is the diet that I believe God has wanting us to eat. You know, we talk about Genesis 1:29, the original diet of man, based on plant foods. And more, the research is just substantiating that we need to eat more of these foods for our overall health and wellness. Whoops. Now, I mentioned earlier that we were in a healthcare crisis today, and unfortunately, all the discussions are not really centered on the right thing. They're all talking about how can we have cheaper drugs, cheaper medical procedures, how can we get insurance. It's actually not a health care plan, it's kind of an insurance program they're trying to put together, not really addressing the causes. If we focused in on the causes of these diseases as opposed to just the treatments, how much money could they really save? And say, hey, Americans, you need to start eating right, you need to exercise, get weight under control, get all these things naturally. Because most of these medications, yes, medications play a role, kind of in an emergency purpose and so forth. Most people don't have to be on those if they do the right things as far as their lifestyle. So, as I mentioned earlier today, is 70% of the people that are in our hospitals today are there because of their diet and their lifestyle. 70%. And we do need hospitals for emergencies, accidents, and some people have been following bad lifestyle habits, of course, and maybe that would motivate them to get back on the healthy road so they don't have to go to the hospital again. But 70% of the people would not be in those hospitals if it wasn't for their diet and their lifestyle. Lifestyle medicine, I'm actually a founder of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. I know there's some physicians here. If you're not a member, join the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. In October in Washington, D.C., we're starting this lifestyle medicine movement in America, meeting with leading people in government, leading people in the health professions, because this is where you treat with lifestyle, not with drugs. And the evidence is supporting this. It's evidence-based medicine and healthcare for the 21st century, integrating prevention and intervention, treating with lifestyle. Medical nutrition therapy is another term you're going to hear more and more about. This is using nutrition as the form of therapy, medical nutrition therapy. We're hoping to get this term accepted more by insurance companies and so that they will cover nutrition visits with the dietitian and nutritionist, and they'll cover nutrition approaches. Maybe they'd cover the CHIP program someday. But you know, Hippocrates, the founder of modern medicine, now I shouldn't say modern, but he's the founder and father, I should say, of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." Saying that back around 400 BC. And the doctors need to look at that. They take the Hippocratic Oath, but they need to remember what Hippocrates said, "Let food be your medicine, medicine be your food." Because, you know, before there was medicine, there was food. Almost every culture used food as the form of medicine. Before there was medicine, there was food. And the evidence shows the right foods for us is really these plant foods. Now, the diseases in our country are really diseases of affluence. In other countries, they have other diseases from, you know, bacterial problems and other types of issues. But here, most of our diseases are affluence. Diseases that are from eating the rich American diet. And look at all these. You recognize them: atherosclerosis and heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, obesity. Just go down the whole row: constipation, all the different types of cancers. This rich American diet has a link to all these different types of diseases. This is what we call the standard American diet, SAD, S-A-D, standard American diet. And the standard American diet promotes lifestyle-related diseases and premature aging. Foods from plants prevent the diseases that are killing us. We just need to eat more of them. Now, let's look at some of these foods. Nuts. Nut consumption and heart disease. Frequent consumption of nuts protect against the risk of heart attacks. And you can see here is less than one serving of nuts per week versus 5 or more servings of nuts per week. People who ate nuts frequently 5 or more times per week had a 51% reduction in heart attacks and a 48% reduction in death from heart attacks compared to those who seldom ate nuts. This is Archives of Internal Medicine. Now, think about that. That's almost like, sounds like a medication, you know? And now if doctors saw these statistics, they should be prescribing nuts. Now, how many of you gone to a doctor and they say, "Well, I'd like you to try to eat 5 servings of nuts a week"? You don't hear that, but they'll write that prescription for that cholesterol-lowering medication. Eat nuts and seeds daily, at least 5 servings per week. Examples, of course, and I recommend raw nuts if you can get them, as opposed to the salty, roasted ones with all the salt added to it. The raw ones are better, but almonds and walnuts and cashews, Brazils. By the way, Brazil nuts are high in selenium, which is an anti-cancer nutrient. Hazelnuts, pecans, then the different types of seeds. And flax seeds are high in those omega-3 fatty acids. You don't have to have fish oils. You can get it from flax, ground flaxseed. And peanut and almond butter and tahini. There's a lot of ways of getting nuts into your diet. So that's just one of the foods that are really healthy. Whole wheat bread. You've heard the saying, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. And this proves it scientifically. Relative risk of heart attack. This is white bread. This is a mixture of somebody that's eating some eats white bread and maybe a little bit of whole wheat, and then it even goes down further as far as the relative risk of heart attack when you're eating all whole grain bread. So the kind of bread that's eaten plays an important part in your health. The whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. Think of that every time you go to a restaurant and you see all that white bread, or don't even have it in the house at home. Get the 100% whole grain breads. Choosing a wide variety of grains, whole grain breads, multigrain breads, oatmeal breads, and oatmeal cereals, brown rice. Today I'm so excited because pasta you can get in whole wheat now. And you can even go to restaurants like Olive Garden and what's that other one? Is it Macaroni Grill restaurant? I mean, they even have whole grain pastas. You can ask for them and get a lower fat sauce, red sauce on that instead of all that other white creamy stuff. And eating whole grains. People are saying don't eat carbohydrates, don't eat any breads at all. Well, I disagree with it. I think as long as you're getting 100% whole grain, you have moderation, you don't overdo it, and you got to watch what you put on that bread. But eating whole grains is important. Yes, eating all that white refined bread is really bad. And those anti-carbohydrate people, the one thing that they have gotten people aware of is getting away from these refined carbohydrates. So get away from the white stuff. Vegetable and fruit consumption. This is women's probability of dying midlife ages 35 through 69. High intake of fruits and vegetables. Here's the low intake. And you can see the relative probability of dying in midlife is much lower on a high fruit and vegetable intake diet. Same thing for men. It's almost the same type of pattern. Men need to eat more fruits and vegetables. I think women overall are better at eating more fruits and vegetables than men. So men, start eating more of those in your diet. Fruits and vegetable intake and risk of stroke. And we find that as you have more servings of fruits and vegetables, the stroke significantly goes down. That's for both ischemic and hemorrhagic types of stroke. So eating more fruit, and it's probably related, this 20-year follow-up of 832 men, for each increment of 3 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, there's a 45% decrease in risk of death from stroke. Think of that. That's powerful. That's how powerful those fruits and vegetables are. And what is protective in fruits and vegetables? Potassium. We need to eat more potassium in our diet, and we get that from fruits and vegetables. It protects against high blood pressure. Folate, or also known as folic acid, helps prevent high blood homocysteine levels, which can cause heart disease and stroke. Fiber helps lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels. They're high in antioxidants, which protect against cancer and Alzheimer's disease, and good source of vitamin C, which is also an antioxidant. Here's different ways of getting more fruits and vegetables. And I find that the way to get it in your diet is to make it more easily available. Have a nice bowl of fruit out there at home. Have vegetables. It helps to get them washed and pre-cut and put them out there so people can just go grab them, as opposed to, if I want some vegetables or fruits, I got to go wash it and cut it up and all that. Make it really easy to eat and make it available. And I'm not opposed to, if you have to, some of the pre-washed lettuces and kale now. They have all those different ones, and they're in a bag. You just open it up and you can start eating it. I know that sometimes there's been some problems with some of the companies with the bacteria and stuff like that, but generally it's really a good way of getting them. You can have them in stir fries, eating raw, making them available for frequent use. There's just a whole variety of ways of getting more fruits and vegetables in the diet. Smoothies, I like smoothies, but don't get too much of the fruit smoothies because they're very high in sugar. But now people are drinking these green drinks, and they're throwing in that kale and green vegetables in there, maybe a little bit of apple juice to help with the flavor. That's another great way, even with kids. You can freeze that and then make popsicles out of them. And there's just many ways of getting and sneaking more fruits and vegetables in the diet. And by the way, they always talk about 5 or more fruits and vegetables a day, and that's kind of more the minimum. To prevent cancer, you need at least 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. 9. Now, what about fruits and vegetables and plant foods? They're low in fat, except for things like avocados and nuts and some of those things, that they're healthier fats. But for most part, fruits and vegetables are very low in fat. They're high in fiber, low in calories, full of antioxidants and nutrients and phytochemicals that protect us against disease. And when you eat more of these plant foods, you fill yourself up. You're not as apt to eat those junk foods. So fill yourself up with the fruits and vegetables. Now, saturated fat, earlier I talked more about it. This is a big culprit in the American diet that promotes heart disease and cancer and a lot of other health problems. So we want to keep the saturated fat. Those are usually your fats that's solid at room temperature, and your cheeses and your meats. And you see poultry here, it's in the skin, and the shortenings and hydrogenated fats and butter, all those things. Even vegetable oil in excess is still fat, whether it's a vegetable fat or not. But the saturated fats are the worst, and they promote heart disease. Now, earlier, this might be a review for some of you, but Dr. Goldstein and Brown received the Nobel Prize work for their research in cholesterol metabolism. Their work led to the development of cholesterol-lowering drugs and medications. But what they pointed out in their research is that humans are not designed to eat animal fat and cholesterol. Our bodies cannot just handle it. We can do it, but our bodies aren't able to really handle all this fat and cholesterol that Americans are eating. What foods have no cholesterol? Fruits, nuts, vegetables, grains. These foods, all plant foods, have no cholesterol. Someone says, well, what about avocados? No, they're high in fat, and that's monounsaturated fat, but they don't have any cholesterol in it. You don't find cholesterol in plant foods. It's only in animal foods. Here we have a cross-section of an artery. You can see the damage that's been done to it, build up plaque, and where it further is building up here to where it gets completely blocked. And when you have a high-fat American diet, you form blood clots. Those red blood cells stick together very easily, and they form blood clots, and it plugs it up, and that's when you get triggers a heart attack. This one's 99% plugged up with cholesterol plaque. And the good news is that we can reverse this process. I'm not going to say it's going to go all the way to that, but you can actually get less buildup on eating the right type of diet over a period of time. And that's where Dr. Dean Ornish showed that through his heart lifestyle program, lifestyle heart trial program, is that on a low-fat vegetarian diet, putting patients on a year, they had 82% of the patients had reversal of heart disease. They actually saw their arteries get clearer. He did it on a 5-year period. There was even further reversal. Now, what was interesting is he also did this study where he put some patients on the American Heart Association diet and then the others on this vegetarian diet, which is low-fat, and it showed that the Heart Association diet, the patients who were on the Heart Association diet, had no improvement in reversal of heart disease, or they even got worse. This is the diet that doctors prescribe, the American Heart Association diet. So what the research shows, and Dr. Ornish points out, is if you really want to reverse heart disease, you have to go on a low-fat vegetarian diet. That's what it's going to take to work to reverse the diet. And then, of course, he gets a lot of criticism. Well, yeah, but if you want to be a vegetarian, meditating monk, then go on a vegetarian diet. Anyway, but the thing is, his point is, and that diet is too, they'll criticize and say, well, that low-fat vegetarian diet is too drastic. But what's more drastic? Cutting your chest open and opening it up and doing a quadruple bypass, or going on this healthy low-fat vegetarian diet? And that's what we got to realize. We got to go to those dietary approaches, not doing all these medical procedures and all these drugs that really don't solve the problem. I pointed out earlier, you may not have been here, but here's the PET scan from Dr. Ornish's work. This is when the patient started off, and this is only 1 year after being on the low-fat vegetarian diet. This increase in red color and yellow color here in the PET scan shows more opening of those arteries and more circulation going into the heart. So the experts showed that you can actually reverse the heart disease through this low-fat vegetarian diet. Couch potato syndrome. This is pre-diabetes. We're seeing more and more of this now. It's metabolic syndrome. It's also called syndrome X. This is where you have high levels of abdominal fat, which is the worst type of fat to have, is around the abdomen from a heart disease standpoint. High blood triglycerides, low blood levels of the good cholesterol, the HDL cholesterol, insulin resistance, and hypertension. This is all the factors related to what we call prediabetes, which is on the increase. Vegan diet has been proven to reverse type 2 diabetes. You're familiar with Weimar Institute, where they have had thousands of patients go through their diabetes reversal program, getting on a vegan diet, and they've been able to reverse this. And this has been also published in the medical literature also. Here's causes of cancer in the United States. You look, dietary, 35% is related to diet, 30% to tobacco. That's 65% right there with diet and tobacco. And people often will say, well, pollution's causing all this cancer. But look at only maybe 4% of the causes of cancer related to pollution and these types of things. So diet and tobacco are the two leading promoters of the cancer. Here you have 65 poor diet and use of tobacco causes much 65% of all the cancers. So what do we need to do for preventing cancer? Well, the number one guideline is choose most of your foods that you eat from plant sources. And there's been so many studies, over 200, 300 studies showing the relationship of eating more fruits and vegetables and lowering your cancer risk. And these are some of the different study numbers. Now in Hawaii, where I worked for many years, we had a slogan about eat a rainbow. And think about that when it comes to eating more fruits and vegetables. Eat all those different colors. You know, eat a rainbow of colors. The more colorful fruits and vegetables that you eat, the better they are for you as far as anti-cancer and many of these disease problems, because those are very unique phytochemicals that actually fight and prevent these types of diseases. Here's some recommended servings, and for children, 5 or more, women, 7 or more, men, 9. You know, we're looking at trying to get about 9 servings of fruits and vegetables for anti-cancer. Tips for the 5-a-day plan. Well, these are just, some people want to know, well, what is a serving of a fruit or vegetable? This gives you an idea. 1 medium-sized fruit, 3/4 cup or 6 ounces of 100% fruit or vegetable juice, a half a cup of fresh frozen or canned fruit. Now, I'm more for fresh and frozen, but even canned, the studies that show fruits and vegetables have protective effects were done on all different types of fruits and vegetables, including canned fruits and vegetables. But your fresh is best, but fresh is not always the most nutritious. If it's been sitting out there for a long time, it's lost a lot of its nutrients. So sometimes your frozen fruits and vegetables are actually more nutritious, depending on how long the fresh ones have been sitting out. 1 cup of raw leafy greens is 1 serving, a half a cup of cooked dried peas or beans, a 1/4 cup of dried fruit. So that gives you some idea of serving sizes, because it is confusing. Well, what is a serving? When they think, I got to eat 9 servings, at least 5 up to 9, this gives you a better idea that it's easy to get this into your diet. 11 Americans eat the amount of fruits and vegetables that the government recommends. 18% of Americans eat vegetables from the cabbage family. And cabbage family is important because they have anti-cancer compounds in it. Only 20% eat fruits and vegetables rich in carotenoids. Those are the ones that give you the bright yellow and red type colors. 59% eat fruit regularly. 28% eat fruits and vegetables that are rich in vitamin C. And the thing is, there's that question about what about supplements versus eating the whole fruits and vegetables. And I'm not opposed to supplements, as I mentioned earlier in my talk, but you have to get your emphasis of your diet is in the food. And there's things that we will never discover that are in fruits and vegetables that may ever get in just to a supplement. So it's important to eat all those plant foods. Antioxidants fight against cancer and free radicals that do damage to our cells. Types of antioxidants include vitamin C and E, the carotenoids, those are the pigments that you find in fruits and vegetables, the alpha and beta carotene, the lycopene, the lutein, and then the flavonoids, which are also pigments, anthocyanins, those are the red, purple, and blue types of vegetables and fruits, and anthocyanins are white, such as cauliflower is an example of a white vegetable. Let's see here. Free radicals. What are free radicals? They're very unstable compounds that fruits and vegetables fight against. And these free radicals promote cancer, heart disease, premature aging, and cataracts. And these are how we get a lot of free radicals in our lifestyle. Alcohol promotes free radical development. Tobacco produces a lot of free radicals, and those free radicals are damaging the lung tissue. And then those fried foods and all those vegetable oils, they just fry them over and over again. They're promoting all these free radicals and very terrible compounds that will damage our cells and that will also promote cancer. What about supplements? I believe in sensible supplementation, but remember, a supplement is a complement to the diet. I know people, I've worked both, I was a nutritionist for a major international vitamin supplement company, and I actually helped formulate different supplements. And then I've worked with other organizations where we just strictly are a strict diet and don't promote supplements. And I believe the best would probably be to have the optimal diet you can, like we were talking about today, and that you had at lunchtime. And then if you want to take a supplement, a good multivitamin mineral supplement that's very broad spectrum is a good thing to do from an overall nutrition perspective. But recognize a supplement is a complement to your diet. It does not replace the diet. The foundation of good nutrition is the food that you eat every day. So you don't want to live, and I do know people that just live off supplements, and they think, well, I'm a sinner on my diet, so I can just take the supplements and that makes up for it. It doesn't do that. You might as well take your supplements and throw them out in the street. You've got to eat that healthy food. By the way, there's over 10,000 phytochemicals that are being studied today in fruits and vegetables. Now, this slide's hard to read maybe here, but this is cancer. Phytochemicals block cancer progression. Here's a normal cell going to a precancerous cell. Fruits and vegetables have compounds that inhibit that from happening. Here's precancer cell going to a cancer cell, same thing. More fruits and vegetables help break that. And then from cancer to invasive cancer, fruits and vegetables. So all along the way, through all the steps of the formation of cancer and its spread, there are things in fruits and vegetables that try to block that from happening. So you just want to flood your body with all those wonderful fruits and vegetables. Prostate cancer. This is from the Adventist Health Study. This just symbolizes, here's prostate cancer in men, California men. Here's Adventist men, which is a little bit lower than general California men. But Adventist men who follow a vegan diet, they're vegetarians and don't have the meat, milk, eggs, and cheese. They have just about a third the prostate cancer risk. Here's a sample anti-cancer menu of breakfast. Now, some people say, well, what about the caffeine in green tea? There are anti-cancer properties in green tea. And I'm not a big advocate of caffeine, but you can buy naturally decaffeinated green tea and still get some of those benefits without the caffeine. Whole grain toast, grapefruit, here's a lunch. Tomato juice, which is high in lycopene. Lentil soup with spinach. Low-fat soy yogurt and flax with blueberries. Brazil nuts, high in the selenium. Selenium fights against those cancer cells. It actually kills cancer cells, selenium. Dinner, mixed greens, salad, fat-free raspberry vinaigrette. Whole grain linguine with a rich, low-fat marinara sauce with broccoli and cauliflower florets. Whole grain roll. And decaf green tea if you want to have that. Just an example of a typical day. Vitamin C, very strong antioxidant and anti-cancer nutrient. Vitamin C is found in almost all your fruits and vegetables, but these are the ones that are particularly high in vitamin C levels. Another important point in cancer prevention is to limit intake of fat foods, particularly from animal sources. It's not only we're finding more and more the types of proteins that are in animal sources also promote cancer, not just the fat component, not just the saturated fats, it's just the type of protein that you find in dairy products, for instance, actually accentuates the growth and spread of cancer cells. Now, this charcoal broiled steak, 2-pound charcoal broiled steak, produces a very potent carcinogen called benzopyrene, one of the deadliest carcinogens known. And if you eat this 2-pound charcoal broiled steak, it has as much of this deadly carcinogen, benzopyrene, as if you were to smoke 33 packs of cigarettes. 33 packs of cigarettes is equivalent to this amount of charcoal broiled steak. So think about that. When you're cooking these fats and animal fats at high temperatures, and that includes vegetable oils too, you're producing a lot of these carcinogens. Anti-aging nutrition secrets. Now I'm going to talk a little more about anti-aging and longevity. And you know, the idea, I'm skipping, here we go, of living to be 100 years of age. A lot of people, how many would like to live to be 100? There's a lot of people that said, no, I don't. You know why? They're thinking about being in a wheelchair and sick and all that type of thing. But how many of you would like to live to be 100 if you were in vital health, had a lot of energy, and felt really great? How many would like to live to be 100 then? See, more hands went up there. I think some people don't want to do it because they don't want to pay bills longer or something. I don't know what the reason is. But it is conceivable, and the Bible tells us in Genesis that we should live to be 120 years of age, and even scientists tell us living to be 120 years of age. And you know, when you look at longevity and lifespan, back in 1796, the average lifespan was only 25 years. In 1896, the average lifespan went up to 48 years, almost double. 2006 through the new millennia promises a healthy, productive age lifespan for most people now is 80 years around. And Adventists living longer that are vegetarians, by the way. But anti-aging scientists are predicting average lifespans of 120 before 2046. So think about that. But the thing is, this slide's a little blurry, but here's excellent quality health and here's poor quality health. Here you have 100. What it is, our goal is to have excellent quality of health and live to be up to 100 years, if that's what you would like to, but having really good health. What happens now is at 40, it's all downhill. See that? For most Americans, it's starting around 40, it is that slope. So what the ideal would be is to have excellent health, live a long, healthy life, and then at the very end, maybe you just drop dead real quick, you fall asleep and you die in your sleep, and make it real quick, as opposed to a slow progression of disease and being sick for a number of years and taking medications and having all this terrible illness for a period. That's not the way to live. The best is to live a long, healthy life and then maybe a quick end at the end. The goal in life is to die young as late as possible. And then my colleague, Dr. Howard Murad, had this saying, aging is a fact of life, but looking your age is not. You can do things through good nutrition and through healthy lifestyle habits to look your best. There's an organization, I'm a member of this too, and if you're a doctor, you might want to look this up too. It's called the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. There's 3,000 doctors that meet every year in their national conventions. They're interested in this concept of longevity and what we call anti-aging medicine. Well, they've looked at diet, and these are the key things that they say for anti-aging diet is to eat a wide variety of plant foods, maintain a healthy weight, choose a diet low in fat and cholesterol, choose a diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables and grains, use sugar, salt, and sodium in moderation. Another thing is they've seen that eating less, you live longer. In cultures where you eat lesser quantities of food, lesser calories, you have longer life. And this has been shown in different animal studies. Here we have 50% increase in longevity with 30 to 60% decrease in caloric intake with some of the animal studies that have been done. Now, a number of years ago, National Geographic had a special issue called The Secrets of Living Longer, where they identified 3 populations that are the healthiest and longest living people in the world. The first one is the Okinawans in Okinawa, Japan, and that man standing on his head is from Okinawa, Japan. He's in his 90s. And then Sardinia, Italy, and then Loma Linda, California, the Seventh-day Adventist population there. And, of course, the Okinawans follow a very healthy diet, and one of my colleagues, Dr. Wilcox, went to study them, and he studied the people that lived to be over 100 years of age. And this is what they found out. The ones that live to be centenarians, this is the types of lifestyle that they live that we're going to talk about. By the way, you see the life expectancy in Okinawa when this was done was 81, and in America then it was 76. But you see the different causes of death rates of different diseases was much less compared to Americans. We ranked 18th on the list when that study was done. Here we have some, here's a 96-year-old Okinawan man, 95, very active, very, no Alzheimer's, very healthy, and they do a lot of exercise. This man's 103 years old. And this is what their diet is. It's low-calorie, plant-based diet, unrefined carbohydrates, low in protein. That's the opposite than what other people are teaching in the world today. They talk about these high-protein diets. And low in sodium. They eat 9 to 17 servings of vegetables every day. Now, these are the ones that are 100 years old or older. 9 to 17 servings of vegetables a day. 7 to 13 servings of whole grains, and 2 to 4 servings of calcium-rich foods, some of that coming in the form of seaweed, which is also high in calcium. 2 to 4 servings of flavonoid-rich foods, a form of antioxidant found in green tea, soybean-based products such as tofu, and 2 to 4 servings of fruit. They eat little protein. It should make up only about 10% of the day's calories, which is a very low protein diet. A little sodium, eat infrequent sweets, drink a lot of water and little or no alcohol, and cook with healthy oils such as olive oil or canola oil. So this is what the people that are 100 years or older, and that's what, if we want to study longevity and health, you want to look at the different groups that have these longevity factors and what do they do in their lifestyle. Now here's another interesting thing. How to eat more, feel fuller, and weigh less, eating the Okinawa way. Here's an American, 280 calories, which is a cheeseburger, and that's 280 calories right there. And for 280 calories on the Okinawa diet, you'd have some stir-fry vegetables with rice and miso soup. And you have a much of a bulkier quantity of food. It's going to actually fill you up more than just that. And I'm sure the average American is going to also have a milkshake with it and some other junk and French fries that even bring the calories up higher. In another culture, my colleague, Dr. J.M. Hoffman, went up to the Hunzas in the Himalayas. How many are familiar with Hunza in the Himalayan mountains? Now, he went there back in the 60s, and he brought Dr. George Vandeman with the It Is Written television program back to do a 3-part series on the Hunzas. And at that time, back in the 60s and through that period of time, they're considered the healthiest and longest living people in the world. And they follow a healthy vegetarian diet, a very pristine area up in the Himalayan mountains. These gentlemen are all over 100 years of age. This man's 106 years old, and he walked 12 miles every day. And in Hunza, you're walking a lot because you're going up these cliffs in the Himalayas, and you're a lot of walking uphill. This man is a 120-year-old Hunza man, no Alzheimer's, sense of humor. By the way, their cholesterols are around 130 when they analyze their cholesterol, very low cholesterol. During that period of time, there's no cancer, no heart disease. The number one cause of death is falling off cliffs, actually. and so they're very active. And so I'm going to actually redo that book on Hunza and update it some, and hopefully in the next year or so we'll come out with that book. But they're always walking, they're always doing physical labor, they grow all their own fruits and vegetables. The apricots are one of their main staples in their diet. They eat apricots every day, whether it's fresh or they actually eat the pits of apricots. And they dry the apricots also. And the pits are believed to contain some anti-cancer compounds in it. Remember Laetrile years ago? They've never really proven that that worked, but they do eat them every day. They're like almonds in there. And they would have the apricots. And they also eat a lot of whole grain bread. This is some of the terraces that they grow their organic fruits and vegetables on. And that's hard to see, but that's a chapati. It's an unleavened whole grain bread that they eat every day. And when we look at the Hunza diet, they have the fresh ground buckwheat pancakes, or chapatis they call it. 80% of the vegetables that they eat are raw with their skins, 20% lightly steamed. They use just very little oil. They use some of that apricot kernel oil, and that's all. And that only lasts a few days, so they don't eat much of it because it turns rancid. They have millet, rice, wheat, barley. These are the fruits that they eat almost every day, is the apricots, mulberries, grapes, oranges, apples, and so forth. And lots of greens and good vegetables, and their proteins are all plant-based. Now, they do eat meat 13 days of the year. The rest of the time, they are all vegetarian. And that's during certain religious holidays that they have. But they're kind of forced that way because they don't have refrigeration. So the animal products they account for only 1% of their total calories, and that would be milk, butter, and cheese from yaks and goats. And that's consumed very sparingly, but it accounts for about 3 ounces of animal products per month, which is not very much. And that's eaten only on special occasions. Now, the other category, of course, in the National Geographic was the Seventh-day Adventist population. And you've heard the blue zones. Blue zones are areas where people live longer and healthier lives throughout the world. And in the United States, there's one blue zone, Loma Linda, California, as identified by the researchers from National Geographic magazine. And of course, Adventists are a unique population to study because they don't smoke, they don't drink alcohol, they have healthier diet habits compared to the average American. Around 50% of Seventh-day Adventists follow a vegetarian diet. Oh, gosh. And those that follow the vegetarian diet live up to 9.5, almost 10 years longer than the average American. Now, when you look at health and longevity and life expectancy, they often will refer to the people in Japan, like the Okinawans, as the longest living. But when you figure this in with the Adventist group, actually Seventh-day Adventists will have the longest longevity in the world compared to even the Japanese if they follow the vegetarian diet. That's a real interesting fact. Huldah Crooks, I don't know if you remember her, but she was a Seventh-day Adventist nutrition researcher at the School of Public Health at Loma Linda. I used to know her and sit next to her as she's doing her research and I'm doing my studies. And she lived to be 103 years old and was the oldest woman to climb to the top of Mount Whitney at 95 years of age. And she was quite an individual. She climbed Mount Whitney every year, and she actually got on her exercise program when she was in her 60s is when she started. And then this picture was just taken a few days ago. This is Dr. Ellsworth Wareham, 99 years old in another month. He's a Loma Linda cardiothoracic surgeon, and you've maybe seen him on Dr. Oz and Oprah. When they did that whole thing on the Adventists and their longevity, they showed Dr. Wareham still doing and assisting with heart surgeries even up to age 95 years of age, and then he retired. So, Jack LaLanne, who said, exercise is king, nutrition is queen. If you put them together, you have a kingdom. And Jack LaLanne was a very good friend of mine. Oh, wait a minute, there we are. That's not too good a picture from here. But the reason I have him in here with the Adventists is because he was raised Seventh-day Adventist. A lot of people don't know. He went to Golden Gate Academy for a while, then later went into public school because he wanted to get into competitive sports. But his mother was a very devout Seventh-day Adventist, and he was raised that way. And And anyway, he was quite an individual. He died of almost 96 years of age. And he was an inspiration to me because he used to swim Alcatraz. And I swam Alcatraz just a few months ago from Alcatraz Island to San Francisco, 1.5 miles, and it was quite a swim. So that's me there coming in from that. Paul Bragg, many of you know, I work with Patricia Bragg. Her father was Paul Bragg, who was a pioneer in health and longevity, and we have the Bragg health food products. We're going to have a drawing for some of those today, and you got the bag today with some information in it. Paul Bragg died at 95 years of age as a result of complications from a surfing accident in Hawaii. And he was a real pioneer in health, and he coined the word health food store, and really was a good example of a healthy lifestyle, and it contributed to his longevity. Now, when we define aging, there's a lot of ways people think of aging. They think of wrinkles, they think of sun damage, hair loss, or even increased hair, poor memory, lack of sleep, poor digestion, reduced circulation, chronic diseases, and a lot of different types of way of thinking of aging. But there's a concept I want to talk to you about that's a common thread through all of aging. There's different theories of aging, whether it's the antioxidant theory or whatever it may be, the telomere theory. But I want you to think about our bodies are all made up of cells, and cells have a membrane that's a protective wall that's comprised of lipids. These are fats, and also and lecithin is the cell membrane. And somehow this skips a few slides. There's one scientific truth that we find, that regardless of what the causes of disease or aging is, the final common pathway is that there's a reduction in water in our tissues. And there's a reduction in the water that's within our cells. They dehydrate. And this is what we call the science of cellular water, or the cellular water principle. And water resides in 3 compartments in our cells, in our body. There's the intracellular, there's within connective tissue, there's wasted water, and that wasted water is kind of like edema, swelling, and that type of thing. That's not the good type of water that we want in our body. The goal is to increase our intracellular water and connective tissue water and reduce the wasted water, because as we get older, these tissues and cells, they just like dry up. We lose the water and the moisture. We want to keep that in. That's key to health and longevity and to youthfulness. So what we have here, intracellular water. Here's a healthy cell with a healthy cell membrane. You can see the water fills it up. Think of a grape. And then on the other side, think of a raisin, where it's all drying up. So you want to keep that moisture within the cell. And as aging takes place, as we eat those free radical foods and all the damage, it punctures holes in our cells. And when it punctures those holes and damages our cells, it can be inflammation, it could be free radicals, damages that cell membrane, and the water goes out of the cell, and we lose the moisture. And that could be on the face. You can see the wrinkling starting and that type of thing. Inside the body, the same thing's going on, and the cells are drying up. And then to the point here where you lose all that moisture. Now the key is we need to feed those cells with healthy foods and healthy nutrients, lecithin, and the healthy types of fats to rebuild those cells to keep that cell membrane from losing the water. And this is a revolutionary, scientifically proven breakthrough in aging and disease. And the most important key is water loss, not only in the cell membrane, but also in the connective tissue. And there's deterioration of cells ultimately leads to death. But before that comes disease, pain, signs of aging such as wrinkles, inflexibility, loss of mental clarity, sleeplessness, depression, etc. Water, the essence of life. Using the cellular water principle, we can repair and strengthen those cells so that we can rehydrate them and turn back the clock on the signs of aging. Now, that's where our diet comes in. Raw fruits and vegetables are the best for increasing our cellular water. Why is it? because the water that goes into your cells, into the cells of fruits and vegetables, is the type of water we want to get into the cells in our cells. So the water that you eat in your fruits and vegetables may even be more important than the water you're drinking. Because if I tell you to drink 8 glasses of water, 10 glasses of water a day, what's happening? You're running to the bathroom all the time, right? It's going out. But if you're eating lots of water-rich fruits and vegetables, there's other things in there. First of all, that water is structured different than the regular water that you're drinking because it's restructured so it gets into the cells of those plants. And it also contains anti-inflammatories. It contains antioxidants. It contains phytochemicals that are important for our health. So you're getting a lot of benefit by eating your water. That's what I'm going to tell you. Eat your water. Eat a water-based diet, and the only way you're going to do that is eating more fruits and vegetables. And particularly, I'm not saying you have to become a raw foodist, but eating more of those raw fruits and vegetables is important. And if you do cook them, lightly cook them, steam them, and not kill them. Eat your water. Eat a water-based diet. That will help you in rehydrating those cells. And a vegan diet really is the ultimate diet in anti-aging. Now, I'm going to talk about some superpower foods that are important for your health, beauty, and longevity. The first one is acai. How many have had acai? You know, those acai bowls and now in smoothies. They're very rich in antioxidants and very healthy. These berries come from South America, from the acai palm tree, and from the Amazon rainforest. Organic or better if you can get that. And Dr. Nicholas Perricone, maybe you've seen him on television before, one of the top anti-aging doctors, a dermatologist. He calls acai berries as one of the top 10 superfoods to include in your diet. Acai berries are a superfood rich in antioxidants, combat premature aging, combat free radical damage. They're sources of anthocyanin flavonoids that are believed to prevent heart disease. Acai berry extracts reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease and cancer, and this is from the Journal of Agriculture and Food Science. And you can get those, of course, in the smoothies today, a lot of your smoothie shops. You can buy, even at Costco now, you can get acai juice. They even have the frozen type that you can break open and make some of your berry bowls and add it to your foods and recipes. Almonds is another anti-aging food. Almonds are a great nut to eat, healthy types of fats, good fiber, and also a really good source of calcium and protein. Now, apples, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and that's true, but I encourage you to eat organic apples, and I'll tell you why. Apples contain polyphenol antioxidants that protect against free radicals and maintain good health. They contain pectin. Pectin is the type of fiber we find in apples, and pectin is actually a soluble fiber that can actually help you lower the bad or the LDL cholesterol and actually help you to control your blood sugar. So this is a good source of this healthy type of fiber we know as pectin. Now, a French study shows that eating 2 apples per day resulted in an average drop in cholesterol of up to 10%, which is very significant. 2 apples per day. This was over, actually, I believe, a month period of time when they did this study. And so a 10% reduction in cholesterol is equated to a 20 to 30% reduction in heart disease risk. So that's very significant. And that is just by eating apples, 2 apples a day added to your diet. They didn't have them in any other special type of diet, just that. Apple eaters enjoy lower risk of tumors, lung cancer, and cardiovascular problems, according to the Nurses' Health Study. In 2001, there was a Mayo Clinic study that showed that apples helped prevent the growth of prostate cancer cells, very important for men. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, used apples as part of his program, and he actually used apple cider vinegar. I'm coming from Bragg, and I'm not hadn't been a big fan of vinegar necessarily, and Patricia Bragg showed me some things, and I've been involved in some research in that. And they've shown that if you take, and this is published in the medical journal in Diabetes Care, which is the official journal of the American Diabetes Association, that if you have a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in water, put on your salad or whatever with your meal or prior to your meal in the beverage, it actually lowers the glycemic index of that meal that will help you improve your blood glucose and insulin levels. And so it almost works as diabetic medication, according to the journal they mentioned. So interesting how certain things can help you from fruits and vegetables as opposed to just eating the fresh one, too. And so apple cider vinegar, that's some of the apple cider vinegar research that's been done for diabetes and weight control. Now, I recommend using only organic apples. According to the Environmental Working Group, and organic apple products are the best because they're one of the dirtiest foods as far as pesticides is concerned, listed as one of the 12 foods most contaminated by pesticides. So if you get apple and apple products, look for organic apples and apple products. Apricots, I talked a little bit about that already, and Hunza, a staple every day for their health and longevity. There's some anti-cancer properties with apricots. And they're rich sources of vitamin A, too. Blueberries I have just about every day for breakfast. I had some on my oatmeal today, didn't I? Yep, I had blueberries today for breakfast. And very good antioxidants in blueberries. In fact, they're powerful antioxidants we call anthocyanins, flavanols, and they fight free radical damage. Blueberries strengthen tissues and blood vessels. They protect eye health. They ward off varicose veins. They are heart disease and cancer protection. They offer properties for that. And from anti-aging standpoint, they slow and reverse age-related brain decline. There's a lot more studies going on with the power of blueberries in health. Broccoli is my favorite vegetable, and broccoli is a very potent anti-cancer vegetable, very rich source of calcium, by the way, and vitamin K, which is important for bone health. They prevent cellular degeneration because of the flavonoids, the sulforaphane, which is the phytochemical in broccoli that is a cancer fighter, and indoles. These compounds have anti-inflammatory properties, so eating more broccoli can fight against inflammation. And it falls into the category of a cruciferous vegetable and contains compounds that stimulate enzymes that break down cancer-causing chemicals. That's the key with broccoli. Very powerful anti-cancer vegetable. Cinnamon is another spice that you can have in your diet that adds a lot of flavor. We had Hans Deal here for a seminar not too long ago, and he worked with Nathan Pritikin. And Dr. Pritikin, or Nathan Pritikin, was not big on sugars and refined carbohydrates and so forth. And he recommended that people use cinnamon instead of sugar because it does have a kind of a sweet flavor. And you can sprinkle it on your oatmeal and sprinkle it on different foods and use that in place of sugar. Now, cinnamon, by the way, I do recommend organic cinnamon if you can get that, is a traditional natural remedy. It's been used for thousands of years for digestive aids and for other health reasons. But we find that cinnamon has anti-inflammatory compounds that help with pain and stiffness in muscles and joints. And it's a carminative herb or spice. In other words, it helps relieve gas for digestion, too, one of these carminative foods. And what's really exciting is that there's a lot more research showing that cinnamon can be beneficial in keeping your blood sugar under control. And this is important for diabetics, and that's another reason. Instead of sugar, use cinnamon as your sweetener, powdered cinnamon, and you not only get a kind of a sweet and nice flavorful thing to your food, but it may help keep that blood sugar under control as well. Now, there's a natural phytochemical called methyl hydroxychalcone polymer. You don't have to write it down. You're taking notes. MHCP. And this phytochemical, naturally occurring, healthy chemical that's in cinnamon, increases glucose metabolism in cells and actually mimics insulin function. This is from the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. Citrus fruits. contribute limonoids, which inhibit the activation of cancer cells. Eating more citrus fruits. Concord grapes, people want to drink wine to improve their heart health, and they think of all these phytochemicals and polyphenols that we find in wine, and it's not the wine or the alcohol that's the benefit, it's those phytochemicals in the grapes. You can drink grape juice and get the same benefits. Concord grapes are a pharmacy of healthful ingredients and life extension. And if you use Concord grape juice, by the way, get the type without the sugar. It's got a lot of natural sugar to begin with. You don't need the grape drinks. It contains heart-healthy polyphenol antioxidants, which is a source of resveratrol. Resveratrol is what they believe is in wine to help with heart health. And you can get those same effects from eating or drinking grape juice and eating Concord grapes. Resveratrol works with anti-aging. It slows the development of cancer, coronary heart disease, and Alzheimer's disease, and is most highly concentrated in the skins of those grapes. Flax seeds, a rich source in omega-3 fatty acids. I don't recommend using flaxseed oil. I recommend getting ground flaxseed because there's other important things called lignans and other things that you'll get where in the oil it might be refined out. And use the ground flaxseed and adding to your cereals, adding it into smoothies, and that type of thing. Flax seeds provide lignans and omega-3 fatty acids. Both may lower hormone levels and slow tumor growth. Garlic is a herb that I've studied for 2 years because I actually developed a garlic supplement for a company once. And it's a wonderful, powerful flavoring for good food, but it helps to keep your cholesterol under control. It has anti-cancer properties. It helps get the bad cholesterol down, and is a heart-healthy thing to include in your diet on a regular basis. And most scientists recommend try to have one clove of garlic in your diet every day, and if you have high cholesterol, at least 2 cloves of garlic in your diet every day. Ginger, another nice spice and flavoring to foods. Ginger is a natural remedy. It's a digestive aid. How many remember in the old days when you had an upset stomach, doctors had you drink what? Ginger ale. So that's because of the ginger. It had properties that helped against indigestion and so forth. And even for pregnant women, ginger is good during morning sickness and that type of thing. Now, the ginger ales that they have today, some of them, I don't know if they have any real ginger in them at all. They may just have artificial chemicals. So get natural ginger ale if you want to get that. But flavoring your food with ginger and making ginger tea is good, too. It has rich sources of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. Goji berries is another popular fruit that's been used for thousands of years. It was used in ancient Chinese and Tibetan medicine for 1,700 years, traditional Chinese medicine for longevity and strengthening and strength building, and is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on planet Earth. It's very rich in many different types of nutrients, including 18 amino acids, 21 trace minerals, essential fatty acids, carotenoids, vitamin C, and is a good source of dietary fiber. Usually, we have actually a goji berry plant at home in our backyard where we can get fresh goji berries and put it on our salads. Most of the times you really can't find fresh goji berries, I don't think, anywhere in health food stores. So you have to buy them dried. They're kind of like red raisins. Powerful anti-aging antioxidants, carotenoids, beta-carotenes, zeaxanthin. These protect cells and DNA from free radical damage and protects against heart disease and cancer. One of the things that they have found in goji berries are some of these polysaccharides. These are types of carbohydrates that enhance the activity of immune cells. So it's an immunity booster. Kale is one of the greatest vegetables. Boy, there's a real resurgence with kale lately. You see it everywhere. And it's just gotten popular. People are throwing it in their smoothies. They're putting it in their salads, steaming it, putting it in vegetable dishes. Kale, the calcium that you get from kale is much more bioavailable to your body. You utilize it better than the calcium you get from cow's milk. which I really avoid people staying from dairy products altogether and getting your calcium from things like this. Mangoes are, of course, a rich source of vitamin A, that bright orange-yellow color, good source of fiber, and a healthier type of dessert to have than ice cream and other types of sweets. Mushrooms have anti-cancer properties in them, and I really encourage you to try a wide variety of the different types of mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms probably have a lot of the anti-cancer properties that people are talking about today. Oats and oatmeal is real important because it's rich in that soluble fiber. Soluble fiber lowers cholesterol. Remember years ago they were doing studies for lowering cholesterol with oat bran? And that's that soluble fiber. It turns gummy and makes you bind that cholesterol in your digestive tract, and you poop it out, get rid of it, so it doesn't get back into your bloodstream to raise cholesterol. So it's quite effective in lowering your cholesterol. Papaya is a superfood of many reasons because it's so high in vitamin C, it's so high in cryptoxanthin and beta-carotene and all these really powerful antioxidants that prevent cancer. Pomegranate is a Bible food since biblical times. Pomegranate juice is very healthy as long as you don't add all that sugar to it. It has a super antioxidants in it, neutralizes harmful free radicals. These are some of the different types of compounds we find in it. Ellagic acid is real popular today, but these are polyphenolic compounds, anthocyanins and ellagic acid and so forth. Now, pomegranate cardiovascular health. It increases, by drinking pomegranate juice, it increases blood flow to the heart, it inhibits oxidation of the bad cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol, and actually reduces arterial plaque buildup. From a prostate cancer standpoint, it shows that drinking 8 ounces of pomegranate juice per day slows the progression of localized prostate cancer. So important information for men. It's a natural sunscreen. There are some foods that actually are natural sunscreens, and when you have pomegranate extract or pomegranate juice, it actually protects the sun against, or the skin against damage from the sun. There's been research to show that taking an extract of pomegranate can increase the protection of sunscreen by up to 23%. 23%. So whatever you put on your skin, by having concentrations of pomegranate, that will actually even have an additive effect in preventing the damage from the skin. Topically, it inhibits the development of skin cancer. Soybeans, there's a lot of misinformation about soybeans today through the internet, saying that it's evil and it's dangerous types of food and so forth, and that is all, it's not substantiated scientifically. Actually, soybeans protect us against breast cancer, colon cancer, rectal cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer. It's an anti-cancer food because it has isoflavones that are thought to block human estrogens that may encourage the growth of hormone-sensitive cancers. Now, soybeans have phytoestrogens, not estrogens. Some people say, oh, they're high in estrogens. It's phytoestrogens. That's a totally different type of thing. It's not the same as estrogens. And actually, those phytoestrogens can go to the receptors of where the bad estrogen can go to, like in the breast tissue and so forth, and inhibit the other type of estrogen from actually promoting breast cancer and other types of cancers. So soybeans are a great food, vegetable food that promote health, beauty, and longevity. In fact, a lot of the longest living cultures eat soybeans, and they've been doing it for thousands of years, and it's a very healthy thing to have in your diet. Heart-healthy vegetable protein provides all the essential amino acids, no cholesterol in soybean products. They contain lecithin, soybeans, and that lecithin, again, is one of the building blocks about the cell membrane to keep that cell strong and keep the moisture in, and has the good types of amino acids. As I said, animal proteins have different amino acid patterns that actually promote cancer, that promote the increase of cholesterol, and that may not be healthy to us, and we don't have those problems eating from plant proteins. Turmeric is another herb, spice that's good, that bright yellow plant food that has anti-cancer properties. Walnuts contain omega-3 fatty acids that are essential to our health. In fact, they're saying that walnuts may become the new fish oil. You don't have to have fish oil. You know, a lot of that fish oil can be contaminated with environmental pollutants. So I'm concerned about eating fish and getting your omega-3s from fish. So here again, foods from plants prevent the diseases that are killing us. Foods from plants promote health, longevity, beauty, and vitality. I want to invite you to, can we get that last slide back up there? Just to tune into my radio show. And I have a lot of great broadcasts on there that you can listen to on the internet. And we have some really exciting guests on there. So that's Health and Longevity at healthandlongevityradio.com. And you get a little flyer on that too. Now, before we have our drawing, should we have a question and answer session? Okay, we'll do some questions. And I think there's a microphone that can be taken around to people that have questions. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Oh, you're right in the front. Yeah.
You speak a lot about nuts, but you don't mention anything about macadamia nuts.
Oh, well, macadamia nuts are good too, and they're the highest in monounsaturated fats. I'm being from Hawaii, I know all about macadamia nuts. And they're very good, but you got to realize they're really high in fat. It doesn't take too many of them, and you get a lot of fat. So, you know, it's interesting because Dr. Caldwell-Esselstyn points out that, like with walnuts, you know, he recommends going easy on too many nuts because you don't need that much to get some benefit from, but you need 5 walnuts will give you all the omega-3 fatty acids that you need in a day. 5. But a lot of people will just eat handfuls, right? Now, that's one of the reasons I don't recommend the dry roasted salted ones, because the salted ones make you psychologically, it gets you more addicted just eating those nuts one right after another. So the raw would be better. But macadamia nuts are healthy in moderation, and they're the richest source of your monounsaturated fats. And of course, they're grown in Hawaii and also Australia. Yes. This gentleman here.
Is soybean beneficial for men as it is for women?
Is soybean beneficial for what?
For men as it is for women?
For men as it is for women? Soybeans are healthy for both men and women. And particularly for soybeans, what I'm thinking with men too is that, you know, getting vegetable proteins, it's a really good source of protein, and the type of proteins and even soybeans can help you lower your cholesterol. So it's getting rid of the saturated fat and getting a plant-based source of protein instead of animal proteins. Is there another question to that? When you ask men or women, is there a concern with that? Did you have a concern with that, or did you just ask? Just a question? Okay, I hope I answered it. Yeah.
You mentioned that apples should be organic.
Yes.
Is there any other fruit or vegetable where we should seek organic only?
Well, if you go to the website, Environmental Working Group, they list the different fruits and vegetables that you should really strive to get more organically, and there's a whole list on it, Environmental Working Group, and every year they come out with a new list. And I'm a believer, you know, first of all, the studies show that eating more fruits and vegetables are very protective, and that was whether they were organic or they weren't organic. So both of them are good, and where you can, get organic, but not all the times organic are better because sometimes they're not as fresh, you know, and they're sitting there. But apples is one that if you eat apples and apple products, I would definitely go, because that's like the number one problem one. Yes? Raise your hand high, and Dr. Lowe will come get you.
Yes, I wanted to know about special concentrations of asparagus as a cancer preventive kind of thing. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, I haven't studied asparagus particularly in cancer prevention, so I'm not aware of any particular studies and the concentrations of it.
Did you?
Special what?
Breaking it down to utilize it for
With asparagus? When you mean breaking it down, what do you mean, eating it or cooking it?
I'm trying to remember. I don't really know, but I'm just saying ways
Asparagus
of
is definitely a good food, and it's a real kidney cleanser, as you know, because it smells after all, right, when you can do that. So it has some actions on the kidney that are very helpful. As far as any special relationship to cancer, I'm not sure of with asparagus, but it is definitely a very elegant and tasty and good vegetable to have in your diet regularly. Yes?
I'm 59 years of age, and I'm concerned about estrogen replacement. What would be the best sources of estrogen, natural estrogen for me, and would they be helpful?
Well, as far as that's something you really need to talk. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a nutritionist, so regarding estrogen replacement and estrogen, I suggest you talking to your personal physician about it. Well, all I'm talking about is phytoestrogens. And the idea with phytoestrogens is they can trick the body to think it's real estrogen, and it can bind to different sites in the body and protect that estrogen from promoting cancer in the body. So these are very weak kind of compounds. They don't promote cancer. There's some people say, don't eat soy, it causes cancer, and I don't really believe that. And a lot of other doctors don't feel the science is there. Actually, there's more science to show that they have anti-cancer properties. Okay.
Peanuts are readily available, and they're inexpensive compared to macadamia nuts, which I can't afford. Would it be beneficial to eat peanuts?
Yes, peanuts are very healthy. And I like the raw ones without all the salt and the oil added to it and so forth. And going to the health food store, you can get the raw peanuts. You can get peanuts and run them through and make your own homemade peanut butter with it. And never get that peanut butter that has hydrogenated fats in it and sugars and all the other types of products. And now some people worry about the fat in it. By the way, there's a good peanut butter product out there that it's at Trader Joe's. If you're trying to cut down the fat but like the peanut butter because you get addicted to it, it's called Better Than Peanut Butter. And it's like only 2 grams of fat per serving. They sell it at Trader Joe's, and they mix some other things with it that are actually healthy and okay, and having that is okay. Yes?
How do you get garlic without smelling garlicky?
Well, that's one of the reasons that some people want the benefits of garlic, but they don't want to eat it and smell of garlic, that's when I actually developed a garlic supplement that had odor control to it, where you take the tablets and you're getting all the benefits of garlic, get it in every day without the smell of the garlic over. Now, I have to tell you, you don't want odorless garlic, and there's some companies that'll put out these supplements that are odor-free and all that. It's actually the odorful compounds, sulfur compounds, that have the health benefits of garlic. So you want to, the odorful compounds are the healthy parts of garlic. So, well, in the supplement part of it, it's controlled so it releases that odor more slowly. Well, I used to be a nutritionist. Have any of you heard of Shackley? If you saw the Shackley odor garlic supplement, I formulated it. So, and I know Arlene. Where's Arlene? Is she here? Standing there? She does some work with that company, Shackley. If you want to, you can talk to her about it. Another question.
When you mentioned that when you make your own juices, can you mix it with fruit, any kind of fruit?
Say that again, the question.
When you make your veggie juice, your vegetable juices, can you mix it with fruit?
Yeah. You can mix it with different types of fruits, and a lot of people like just a little bit of apple juice with the veg, just to give it a better flavor. And then they put in the rest of the vegetables, because just having now some that really are hardcore and they really want it, they don't mind. They'll go ahead and just put all the vegetables and have that green drink. But for some people, it's too grassy and all that. But you soften it with a little bit of maybe put an apple in there with it, and you can also put some ginger in that. That gives it a good flavor. A little bit of ginger root.
I think, John, the trick with garlic is to give everyone around you garlic, and then no one notices.
Well, you know, one of the things is, you know, they show that garlic helps you to help keep your blood pressure under control. There's been studies. And one of the things that causes people's blood pressure to go up is a lot of stress and so forth. And sometimes a lot of stress is related to people problems. And if you have a lot of garlic, it keeps people away from you. So maybe it works that way. Yes?
What's a good multivitamin? I know I've seen those that have raw vegetables and fruit. And then I've seen studies that showed people take too many vitamins, and so they develop other conditions. So what do you think is a good multivitamin?
Well, here again, I'm a little biased because I formulated a multivitamin. And it's also with that company that I was worked with Shackley. A good multivitamin should be broad spectrum, have a full range of all the major vitamins and minerals, including the trace minerals and the ultra trace minerals, have at least 100% of the daily value for the nutrients. You want something that's balanced. Unfortunately, a lot of these supplements will go way high here and hardly anything here, and you want something that's really well proportioned, well balanced, so you're getting a good, almost 100% of the daily value for all your major nutrients, and as natural as possible. I'm not a big believer in the supplements that have all these synthetic compounds and additives and preservatives and all these types of things. You want something that's natural, doesn't have all these chemical additives to the tablets and so forth. And there's so many out there on the market, and I mean, I take the one that I formulated. So.
May I ask you what your thoughts are about using aloe vera juice and also coconut milk, coconut oil?
Oh, you know, that was something I want to mention. Speaking of coconut, and we'll get to that question. I want to mention that I'm not a believer in coconut oil or coconut fat. You know, right now they're promoting it because you know, when they try to get away from trans fatty acids, they say, well, now we're going to make things with these coconut fats and palm oil and palm fats. Those are highly saturated fats also, so I'm not a believer in coconut oil, you know, and even palm kernel oil and that type of thing, because those are saturated fats, which means they're more like the animal fats. So coconut water is different. Coconut water is just the water. When you open you know, when I lived in Hawaii, there'd be someone cutting down the coconuts, and they put a straw in there, and you can drink it. Well, that's just clear liquid. That's the water that's in it. And that's actually a healthy thing. What was the other question now? The aloe vera juice. Aloe vera juice is okay. It's healthy. I think they make a lot more claims about it, like it's a miracle cure, than really is true. There's nothing wrong with taking it. Now, aloe vera, certain parts of the aloe vera plant are very have very strong laxative effects, so it depends on how it's prepared. He's going to go around. You raise your hand high, and Dr. Lau.
For vitamin B12, do you recommend, of course, the supplement, and how often do you take the supplement?
Well, vitamin B12, particularly if you follow a vegan diet, all plant-based diet, it's recommended to get a consistent level of vitamin B12 because, in theory, plant foods don't have vitamin B12 in it, particularly in the United States where we're very clean and make sure everything's clean. And B12 is higher in animal products. And it takes years to develop a B12 deficiency. Right. But if you're taking a good multivitamin, which I would recommend, there would be adequate amount, there would be 100% of the daily value in that multivitamin where you'll get it. Or you can take a B-complex supplement that has B12 in it. Also, now there's certain things like nutritional yeast, which is going to be one of the things in this basket we're going to have a raffle for. And that is a very rich source of vitamin B12 that you can sprinkle on your food and add it to your foods. And it's all vegan, vegetarian product. And then a lot of the vegetarian food products, even the soy milks, have B12 added to it. So they fortify a lot of healthy and vegetarian food products these days with B12. Some of the vegetarian meat alternatives have B12 added to it. But if you take a supplement, I mean, it's good to try to get at least 100% of the daily value every day in some form.
Another question is, what about the vegetables that are high in oxalic acid, like spinach and so on?
Yes. What about vegetables that are high in oxalic acid, like spinach and so forth? And that's a good point because foods that are high in oxalic acid would include spinach, chocolate, rhubarb. I don't have the list of all of them, but there's several foods that are. And, they promote spinach as a good source of iron, or it's got a lot of calcium in it. That oxalic acid actually binds that calcium, and you can't absorb it. So if you have foods that are too high in oxalic acid, it can inhibit the absorption of calcium. That's if you're eating excessive amounts of it. Now, kidney stones are made of calcium oxalates. It's a combination of the oxalic acid and calcium. So it does appear that people who eat too much foods rich in oxalic acid can have increased risk of developing kidney stones. So that's something to watch for. And that oxalic acid also, remember Popeye eating all that spinach because he got all his iron? It binds the iron, so you don't absorb that very well either.
Now, you were talking about how you prefer more raw to cooked.
Yeah.
Is there certain foods or fruits and vegetables that should be cooked opposed to not, and the ones that shouldn't?
I think raw, you're getting, and you saw the Hunzas, 80% of their food was raw, and then the ones that were cooked, 20% were lightly cooked. Now, there's certain foods that by cooking actually makes it more bioavailable to the body. For instance, tomatoes. When you cook tomatoes to make tomato sauce, you're concentrating the lycopene that's in it, and it's much more bioavailable to your body. So you're getting more nutrition out of eating cooked tomatoes than you are getting from raw tomatoes. Now, when you juice that tomato, that kind of breaks down some of the fiber, and you're probably getting some, but by cooking the tomatoes, carrots is the same way. Eating a raw carrot versus a cooked carrot, you're going to get more nutrition out of the cooked carrot. However, when you juice that carrot, you're liberating more nutrients, so you're getting a lot of the beta-carotene that way as well. So there are certain foods like those two are exceptions, that when you cook, you're probably going to get more nutrition out of it.
And then one other thing from it. We have a friend who has a mulberry tree and stuff, and I was just wondering where the ranking of the mulberries are compared to the other berries and that. Do you happen to have?
Well, there's different types of mulberries, and I think some of them are different colors, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to vary in their nutrient content. But of course, they are high in vitamin C. They're high in potassium. They're probably a good source of fiber. I don't know. I'd have to look to see if there's any other unique phytochemicals that might be in them compared to other berries. I don't know. I'd have to research that. But you can go on the internet and find out everything nowadays. Raise your hand high if you have any more questions, and we'll take a few more, and then we'll have our drawing, and I'll be here after, brothers.
I have two questions. One is a comment on the aloe vera on nutrition.org, Dr. McGregor, nutritionfacts.org. He was saying that it's not good to just drink the aloe vera. There was a reason, and I forgot what it was.
Well, it could be depending on how that aloe vera juice is prepared, whether it has that strong laxative effect, because there's certain fractions of the leaf that can be richer in these cathartic.
There was some toxicity, and I forgot what it was because I don't drink it. So
yeah, I think it's safe in normal content.
And then they were also talking about spirulina and the toxicity in spirulina, because it's contaminated. It's not the algae itself, but it's the contamination that it picks up from other.
It depends on how it's grown and harvested. Now, having lived in Hawaii and Kona, there's a company there on the Big Island that, and by the way, spirulina is the food that whales eat, like a microalgae, blue-green algae. And so that is a concern. If they're not growing it under good conditions, it can get contaminated. So if you get spirulina, you got to make sure it's from a good company.
And how do you know? How do you know these supplements that you buy and
it's hard. Foods? It's very hard to know. It just I was fortunate in working with a company that really did very stringent tests. It had chemists and microbiologists, and I developed a whole line of herbal products, and when we see certain things high in bacteria, we reject that material, or we would treat it naturally so that you would control any bacteria. You want to look for companies that have, and it's harder with supplements because there's not the regulations that a lot of companies have. You want to find companies that have a good science team that does stringent, good manufacturing practices, that does the proper testing, and so forth. That's what's important. And
One other thing is and probiotics. What do you say about that? Using probiotics on a regular basis.
I think probiotics are good. It's the friendly bacteria like you get in yogurt, but I don't recommend getting dairy. If you do use yogurt, I recommend soy yogurt. And
I'm talking about supplements.
As far as supplements, here again, some of those are okay, but then there's others that they may go through the digestive process and they're broken down in the stomach and they're not even utilized by the body. So it all depends on the scientific integrity of the company and how they formulate and how they prepare that preparation. Yeah.
Generally, it's going to be better to get your nutrients from whole food and not have to supplement at all, and eat the right foods so that you grow the right bacteria instead of having to try to supplement with some kind of good bacteria. If you eat a healthy diet, you will have good bacteria.
Yeah, because
naturally.
the foods that we're talking about, for instance, garlic feeds those probiotics to grow more. You know, all these foods, these plant foods, promote the promotion of the growth of the probiotics, the healthy types of bacteria in the digestive tract. Animal products are the putrefactive type of bacteria, and they promote, particularly your meats and so forth, they promote the bad type of bacteria that actually promote cancer and other health problems. So eat more foods from plants. That's the whole thing. I think we'll do one more question. And while we're drawing, I'll be here for a few minutes later if you have individual questions. Yes.
I was diagnosed with a vitamin D deficiency, so I bought a reduced milk that has 40% less sugar and added protein to it. I've always liked dairy products, and it's caused a weight problem. But what natural source of vitamin D is available to, or do I need to buy a supplement?
In the case of vitamin D, because you can get vitamin D from your skin just a few minutes out in the sun each day, and there's a type of cholesterol on our skin that converts into vitamin D. But there's a variety of different vitamin D supplements on the market that if you want to ensure you're getting a certain international unit level of vitamin D that you can get too. Okay, is that it, or should we do one more?
All right, the last.
Okay,
the ultimate.
The last one, and then I'll be here longer. We'll have a drawing. Because I know we're going over time here.
I was going to say about the, you mentioned the yeast flakes. They're delicious, by the way. Like a healthy grated cheese. You know, we put that on sauce. And David beat me to it, but I was going to say, being Italian, we eat a lot of spaghetti. Don't talk to anybody for about an hour. But, you know, something...
By the way, I hope it's whole wheat spaghetti.
Whole wheat, right, that's true. Which I don't really like, by the way, but I'm praying about it. It's kind of, has a certain taste. We try to, so we mix it together now. We try to mix it together. So something you didn't mention that I talked to you is water. You know, we drink distilled water. We get it at the water store. And there's some controversy. People say, well, it takes the vitamins out of your bones. But I disagree. We put lemon in it. And I heard that we have a lemon tree. It gives it a little alkaline. Because a lot of even the bottled water today is supposedly healthy, but you don't know.
Well,
so what do you think of distilled water?
Well, I am a believer in distilled water. Paul Bragg, who I work for Bragg, he wrote the book called Water, the Shocking Truth, and promotes distilled water. I have a water distiller in our home. I believe that pure distilled water is the best type of water. Ellen White, and that's the soft water too. You know, Ellen White talked about drinking not these high mineralized waters, the soft water. And distilled water is nature's water. I mean, rainwater is distilled water. Now, of course, you don't want to drink the rainwater in Southern California because it's coming over all this pollution. And but there's parts of the country where it's pure air, and you can drink that water, and they even hold it. And having a water distiller. So I'm a big believer in water, distilled water. Now, there's myths out there saying that distilled water is bad for you because it takes the minerals all out of it. That's one thing. And that's true. There's distilled water is pure H2O. All the minerals are taken out of it. All the other chemicals are taken out of it. But the thing is, you should get your minerals from what? From food. Those green leafy vegetables and all those healthy plant foods. That's where you should get your minerals from. Don't try to think, I'm going to get my minerals from water. And the minerals that are coming through the food, through the process of growing that plant and taking it from the soil, and they're converting those minerals a little differently into the cells of those plants, you're getting a much more bioavailable form of those minerals than eating rocks or getting the minerals from the stream or whatever. So that's one thing. The other thing they say, well, it's high in acid. Well, that's not true. Pure distilled water has a pH of neutral pH is 7, and some hydrogen can get in it from the air, and it can make it slightly more acid. But that's a very minor thing. It's a very healthy type of water. It's the purest form of water. And I'm not for fluoridating our water, by the way, or adding additives to our water. You want to get the purest form of water, and that is the purest form of water you can get. So you can go to water stores and get it. You can get it if you have water distillers. They have these alkaline water machines, too. They say you got to drink alkaline water, and they add out. People pay $3,000 or more for those machines. You don't need to do that. That's a myth. The thing is, if you eat the way we're talking about, you're eating an alkaline-forming diet. If you eat all those animal products, that's an acid-forming. That's what I don't get, is the alkaline water people promoting getting alkaline water, and then they're eating all these hamburgers and all these animal products that are acidic. So a plant-based diet is an alkaline-forming diet, and a good sign of health is having a bloodstream that's pure, clean, alkaline, not acidic, because when you eat these animal products, it raises the bloodstream so it becomes more acidic, and you have to buffer it from your bone tissue to alkalinize that, and that's how you get osteoporosis. So I really am a big believer in distilled water as the healthier type of water to drink. No, reverse osmosis is different. No, reverse osmosis would probably be next to it. It's a purification system, but that doesn't remove everything. Pure distilled water, particularly the way they distill today, because I make thousands of gallons of distilled water for a beverage that we produce. And we have, not only do we distill it out, but we have filters at the beginning, filters at the end, then distillation. So you're getting really pure water. And that's the type of water they use in laboratories to do experiments, because they don't want interference with other minerals in there to affect the outcome of their chemical tests and so forth. I think we better have our drawing, and you come up and ask me further. Should we have a drawing? Who wants to come up and pick the number and read?
The ticket, raise your hand so Chad can get a ticket to you.
Okay.
So we're just wanting to, we had people come in late and we didn't get tickets to
Okay.
them. So we want to make sure everyone has a
Everyone's
chance. One thought, the eating the water is a new concept, and I was thinking about that, and I'm wondering, because these things are high in potassium. Potassium is the intracellular mineral.
factor.
It's the intracellular mineral. It's potassium. And sodium is the extracellular. It's in your bloodstream and the extra outside the cell, fluid.
Yeah.
In that kind of fluid. And I'm just wondering because if you eat more potassium, and most of the country is potassium deficient, that if they're eating more potassium, that it would bring the water into the cells, because you have to pump the potassium into your cells,
Right.
and then it takes the water with it. And maybe that's
right.
what's
That's
why
part-
the fruits
that's
and vegetables
that's a
work so
factor.
well.
Yeah, so we're talking about distilled water, but remember, eat your water. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. You get
Okay,
those
is
other
everyone-
benefits from it. We want everyone to be eligible. So what we have is it's a gift from Patricia Bragg. And by the way, she loves Seventh-day Adventists. We were at Loma Linda. Did you know about 3 weekends ago, the mayor of Loma Linda declared it Bragg Healthy Lifestyle Weekend. So we had a special campaign in promoting health and nutrition in Loma Linda. And I'm a nutritionist for Bragg, and we like to offer a gift basket from different places that we give lectures and so forth, and we have $120 worth of healthy vegetarian products here.
So there's just one winner today?
There's just one winner.
One winner.
For that basket.
Did everyone get a bag?
And everyone got a bag.
Everyone get a bag? Okay. All right.
If you didn't get a bag as you leave, my wife and daughter will be there to give you a brag bag. And these are these can you use these at the grocery store and use them over, and you don't have to cut down trees or have plastic. Okay, and the winner, I guess it's the last three numbers or last four numbers?
Yeah.
Last three or four?
Either one.
Okay. We're going to say 310.
310.
310. This gentleman right here. Congratulations. Let's give him a hand. Here you go. And 91 years young. So this will keep him going at least another 9 years, right?
Yeah.
That's a heavy basket. Well, thank you very much. I'll be here for a few minutes if you have any other questions. And go out and get your brag bag if you'd like to get that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. John. We enjoyed having you here the whole day. Thank you for coming. There are other health programs we will be having for the rest of the year. Next month, in September 21, I'll be doing a talk on healthy eating. And in October 12, we will be showing a film here called Food Matters. Very interesting documentary film on the sources of your food. And for those of you who are getting interested in enlarging your repertoire, your cuisine, and your recipes for eating healthy, we have an ongoing, our Garden of Eden Vegan Gourmet Club that meets every second Thursday of every month. So you're welcome to come and join us, sample the food, learn to eat, share ideas, just enjoy getting updated on nutritional information. So it's the second Thursday of every month. So they'll be coming, at 6:30, just in time for dinner. Bring your friends. The first time you come, you don't have to cook anything. After that, you got to. Now, what we are doing is we are trying recipes. We are assigning recipes and having people cook them. They bring them back the next meeting, and we evaluate them. We evaluate those recipes, see if they're worth anything, reject, thumbs up, whatever, and then we are getting a collection of recipes that mostly everybody likes. So it's really a fun time. So you're welcome to join us. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be anything. You can just come and if you want to learn and experience healthy eating. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for coming.